Hey guys, Alex Murphy here from Virtue Athlete. Today I just wanted to go over 3 really big common nutrition mistakes that we see from people. These mistakes happen a lot. We know how to fix them. So here's our 3 tips on how to solve these common nutrition problems. Tip number 1, failing to plan. We know that meal prep is kind of an arduous task for a lot of people, but if you're not planning out your weekly meals, or you're not planning or preparing 1 or 2 key ingredients at a time, then you're setting yourself up for failure in that scenario. We're not saying that you have to pack everything into Tupperwares and make sure every single meal is structured for the week. In fact, we actually recommend allowing for a little bit of flexibility in your diet. Diets that are too strict oftentimes result in cravings and relapses and forming those bad habits again that we're used to. We recommend figuring out your priority, whether that's to increase protein in your diet or increase the volume of fruits and vegetables you're getting in. We recommend finding that priority and then building steps to make sure that you're prepared for the week with those. So for example, say you wanted to get more protein in your diet, we'd start with bulk cooking 2 or 3 sources of protein, whether that's chicken, turkey, some beef, whatever that is. Make sure that's prepped and in a box in your fridge that you can kind of pull out whenever you need. It's easy access. You're not going to have to cook and prepare the whole thing. It's already prepared. Then you can pull out, mix with some different ingredients of your choosing. So tip number 1 is plan your week. That can be really small for you. That can start with just having an idea of what you're going to eat on each night, maybe 1 meal. Or you can go to the grocery store, have a list with you, plan the foods you want to buy, or if you're at another level, a more advanced level of nutrition, we would recommend starting with 1 or 2 big bulk key ingredients, and that way you've got the structure or the skeleton of your week kind of covered. Okay, so fault number 2 that we see, oftentimes this is over-restricting or staying in a calorie deficit for too long. Diet culture, things online, they've led us to believe that calorie deficits work in reducing weight. That's absolutely true. But what happens when we continually reduce, restrict ourselves, we're in a calorie deficit the whole time? The body kind of adapts to that. The body realizes that you're sending it signals to reduce food, reduce energy that's going into your body, and it sees that as a threat to survival. It sees that as a form of starvation. Your body slows down your metabolic rate, lowers your energy levels so that you don't burn off excess energy, stores body fat as a form of energy, your hormones fall out of balance, you lose strength and muscle because you're in a caloric deficit, you increase the risk of injury. We see this especially in female athletes in a calorie deficit for too long, and there's a whole host of other health risks associated with calorie deficits that are excessive in duration. So how do I solve this? One way to go about that is building a plan. Maybe every 3 weeks that you're in a deficit, you have a 4th week where you refeed and refuel. Now, that doesn't mean going completely off track with your diet and indulging those temptations. We just simply suggest that you increase the volume of food you eat in that 4th week. So it's a similar way you would train. You would train really hard, push yourself for 3 weeks, and then maybe on that 4th week, you would take a break, you would deload, and you would rest. The same principle applies for nutrition. 3 weeks of restriction, followed by a 4th week of just eating slightly more in terms of a caloric intake, probably finding that maintenance or baseline level again. That will restore your body's natural energy balance, it will restore the hormone function, and you'll find that easier to reduce weight in the future. And you'll find when you return to that calorie deficit, your body's able to keep taking the weight off as you refeed and deficit again. Okay, so mistake number 3, or tip 3 that we would give people is not to overly restrict themselves in terms of food choices. Really common for people to say, right, diet starts on Monday, I'm only going to eat these healthy foods, I'm going to completely eliminate all those processed junk foods that I eat. That's a really great idea in principle, and we would definitely encourage people to seek wholesome organic foods as much as possible in their diet. But for the vast majority of people, going cold turkey on some of those products, some of those foods that we like and taste really good, that can be really, really difficult. Sustainable dietary change, sustainable weight loss change is all about a gradual process. It's changing behaviors over time, not forcing yourself into something that you don't enjoy. So rather than going chicken and broccoli, chicken and rice, just salads all week long, add a little bit of stuff back in that you enjoy. Maybe on a Friday or a Saturday, you enjoy what we might say is a treat meal rather than a cheat meal. We don't kind of like the terminology of cheating on your diet. Diet should have balance, and wherever your starting point is, that's fine, but work out where you need to go and just the smallest step that you can make next. If you're going from a place of maybe not great nutritional habits, quite high processed junk food diet, and you want to jump straight to the pinnacle with just salads, veg, meat the whole time, that's going to be really, really difficult for you to make that behavior change. Start with one small step. Maybe it's reducing the total volume of processed foods in your week. So instead of having a whole chocolate bar on a Friday night whilst watching TV, maybe you put half the bar on the plate, half the bar back in the cupboard. Maybe it's reducing portion sizes. So say you go out for dinner with some friends. Maybe you order a 10-inch pizza rather than a 14-inch. These small little changes might not seem like big things in the short term, but when we repeat them consistently and consistently move the needle for ourselves, we'll find that they add up to big results in the long term as well. So tip number 3, don't restrict yourself too much. Those are our top 3 tips for diet success based on the 3 things we see most commonly with people. Hopefully this helped you. If it did, drop us a comment, like, and subscribe. You can find loads more resources on our Instagram page at virtue_athlete or on our website. Just Google Virtue Athlete and you'll find some information on there. We hope this has been a benefit for you. Try some of these techniques out for yourself, see what works. Until next week, take care.